Welcome back. There are nearly 102,000 children under the age of 18 waiting for adoption in the United States. In West Virginia, there are approximately 4,600 children in foster care, of which nearly 1,060 are legally eligible for adoption. Many people may think they don't have what it takes to adopt a child, but a national campaign shows you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Here's a clip from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. This will drive the point home.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Joining me to raise awareness on foster care and adoption in West Virginia is Rachel Kinder, Program Director for Mission West Virginia. Rachel, thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about the partnership between Mission West Virginia and the DHHR?
Yeah, we work together to spread the word about the need for foster and adoptive families in West Virginia, especially about the number of waiting children that there are. So we recruit people to be foster and adoptive parents, and then my agency, we're a private nonprofit, we are considered a neutral referral source. So someone calls us and we can refer them to their county DHHR or to one of the 10 private foster care adoption agencies, and then they can get certified. And then another big thing that we do with the DHHR is that we recruit families for specific kids. So their DHHR worker would refer a child to us, and it's generally children who are older and have been waiting longer in foster care, children who are adoption eligible but for one reason or another just haven't been matched with the family yet. And we have different services that we can recruit families for those kids.
I know we've had a wonderful partnership, and it's been for how many years?
Originally since 2001, so we're almost to the 15-year mark.
And I think that's a cause for celebration. These long-term partnerships really do make a difference in our ability to work together for the greater good, for the children that we serve and the youth that we serve. Tell us a little bit, what happens when someone calls and says, I would really like to be a foster parent? What's the process? I think everyone in the viewing area was very interested in understanding about that.
Well, the first thing I do is say, great, there's a huge need for that. I'm so glad that you called. We have a toll-free number, 866-CALL-MWV, so hopefully people get to us through that. Usually they speak to me or one of my coworkers if I'm not there, and basically we answer questions. We explain the process. We explain, that you need to choose an agency, generally attend a training, and then go through a home study process. It's a huge decision for a family to make, and a lot of times people just have initial questions, and we just kind of ease their fears. 4 out of our 7 staff are foster or adoptive parents. I'm the newest, so I'm able to say, I just went through Pride training, I just went through a home study, we have a child in our home. That makes people feel a lot better to get some real life experience. And we mail them an information packet, and then kind of take it from there, just hope get them off to a good start.
Now, I know that, and that's wonderful, and thank you for doing that for the state and for our children.
We are enjoying it. Thank you.
I know that we have really been on a push recently. I mean, we are in need of foster parents in West Virginia. And the one thing that I think we've always tried to stress is we really like to keep children in their home community.
Yes.
And so what are some of the things that we've been doing recently to really step up our efforts to get people interested in foster care and adoption?
Well, traditionally, we have tried every type of recruitment out there, media, television, radio, and lately we have worked with DHHR to do social media. And we have different ways that we promote waiting children, and one of them is the Sunday's Child column, which is in 12 major newspapers in the state. And through part of the partnership, there's now a DHHR official Facebook page, and they share that column weekly. We had a post recently that got a lot of attention. I spent a whole week answering phone calls for a particular sibling group, which was great. But just being able to put the word out through social media, because that's where everyone is now. It's where they get their news. And we've just seen so many shares and likes, and just the news traveling so far that way.
Are you seeing any type of trends in what type of parents or individuals are interested in foster care and adoption? Is there anything different?
You know, it's a little bit all over the place. We have people who already have kids but want to parent more kids, people who see the need and want to help, people who want to build their families through foster care. Empty nesters are a good one for us. You know, the last kid goes to college and they want to keep parenting. Same-sex couples, single parents, we get a little bit of everybody, and that's great.
That is great. It's very important. We want everyone to get involved and be interested in foster care and adoption. You know, I know that there are families that foster children and then they continue to be sort of part of our bigger family and adopt. Or they continue to foster children. Do you stay in contact with these families in some way?
We do. When a family calls us, we check in with them regularly. You know, 6 weeks after the first call, we call back. We say, did an agency, you know, call you? Are you getting your questions answered? And we follow them all the way up until they're certified, until they get foster placements, until they adopt, pretty much until they say, stop calling me.
Right.
But most of our families we stay in touch with for years.
That's wonderful. I think that really shows the supportive network that gets developed through Mission West Virginia, along, you know, with our partnership at the DHHR. What about the children? Do you have any special programs for the children that are in foster care or children that are eligible for adoption?
We do. We do what we call child-specific recruitment, which is putting that child's information out there and finding a family for that specific child. And that's through the Heart Gallery, which displays professional photos of the children, and through things like the Sunday's Child column that I mentioned. We also have a program called Wendy's Wonderful Kids, and that's through the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption. And that matches them with a recruiter who works for that specific child to find a family for that child. They get a lot of one-on-one from our recruiters. We also have a program called Carry On, and DHHR is participating in an employee drive right now. Sadly, a lot of kids in foster care end up moving their belongings in garbage bags, and we want to eliminate that. So we collect new or gently used luggage, and right now employees I've heard that there's a lot of collections already.
Oh, absolutely. People are very excited about this project. It's a way to give back to children that have needs, and it's great that you're able to do that and that people are participating.
And, you know, not everybody can foster, or adopt. It's not right for every family, but this is something anybody can do if you want to help.
Right. And I think, you know, we talked a little bit about Handle with Care earlier with U.S. Attorney Booth Goodwin. We're talking about what's happening with Mission West Virginia and this, you know, need for foster families or adoptive families. And I think it's all within sort of a holistic view of what we as a state, what we as a community can do for our children. And I know there's a lot of very dedicated foster parents out there and the employees that work for not only you but in our offices and in our agencies. You know, if someone was interested in fostering or adoption, what would you tell them? How do we inspire people to get involved?
There's just such a huge need. It's just, there's so many children in all parts of the state that need families. And it's just such a rewarding experience, and it's tough, but the enjoyment that we get out of being foster parents is amazing, and these are just kids. They're just regular kids, and they just need families. Absolutely.
You know, we hear the term forever family pretty frequently. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
Well, we work with a lot of older kids. Some of our kids are 17 and a half, and people ask us, well, why are you trying to find an adoptive family for them? And we say, well, did you need your parents after you were 18? Because I definitely still need my parents, and these kids need extended family. They need somewhere to go for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and, you know, they need families forever, and that's our goal.
And I think that's a wonderful way to think about it, you know, that we're all in this to really help children, and regardless of their age, we all need loving adults in our life. So thank you so much, Rachel, for what you do, for what your agency does, and really for all of the foster families and the people in our state and our agencies and our staff that do the right thing to help children.
Well, thank you for helping us spread the word.
You're welcome. When we come back, we'll talk with someone who has adopted 2 children.